Dogs don't like it. Hi, my name is Paul Middleton and this is the VW Golf GTI Clubsport Mark 8.5, VW's answer to the Honda Civic Type R, GI Yaris and Ford Focus ST. VW have sold more than 37 million Golf since its release 70 years ago. Some great, some not so, looking at you Mark IV. The original GTI was released in 1975 at the International Motor Show. Was originally planned to just go with 5,000 cars. It's still going strong. The version here is the GTI Clubsport, which costs more than £2,000 than the GTI. The only option being the paint, which is the Grenadilla Black. It runs on the standard 18-inch wheels and has a stock exhaust pipe. The car is powered by the now well-used Volkswagen Audi Group EA888 engine, producing 300 horsepower and 300 pound-foot of torque. That's compared to the standard GTI's 265 and 270. Doesn't sound like a lot. It just gives it that little bit more edge. The 0 to 62 time is 6.5 seconds compared to the standard GTIs of 6.9. The Clubsport has some other tweaks to the engine, suspension and ECU to give it that little bit more performance and a little bit more edge, making it more of a driver's car. This particular car doesn't come with the DCC, so it lacks the Nürburgring, which is a real shame. We'll have a walk around the car, a quick look inside, and then I'll give it Paul's points based on performance, personality, presence, practicality and price, giving it a final score of 50. So what are the differences between the two cars? Well, from a side profile, there's not a huge difference. The GTI has the same GTI badge marked here. I actually quite like the location of this. It's been moved because of the GTE, which has the charging port here. This car comes, as mentioned previously, with the standard Richmond wheels. These are 18-inch. Runs with the nice GTI logo here, which you don't get on a standard GTI. The brake calipers aren't big enough, I suspect, to fit it in. And obviously the nice big discs, as mentioned previously. There's quite a big skirt here that comes out, same as the standard GTI. The only other fundamental difference between the two cars is this massive spoiler. I actually quite like it. It's got a bit of a DRS vibe going to it from the back with your hand through it. So what are the actual differences at the back? The car has a little bit more presence in my opinion. The spoiler clearly adds a lot more presence, which you don't get on the standard GTI. You don't even get it on the standard Golf R. The GTI badge sits in the same position. The bumper's not too dissimilar. The only major difference is that the splitter at the bottom is a bit bigger. And of course, as previously mentioned, the exhaust pipes are now fistable and actually real as well. This GTI has a standard lights like this. These are the IQ lights. When you unlock the car, you see this nice indicator motion, which you get when you're indicating as well, and it glows up nicely. The front of the Clubsport removes the checkered flag type fog lights that the standard GTI has that realistically only teenagers probably used. This has probably been done to allow for extra airflow to the front right of the car. The left hand side doesn't have any of the extra ventilation, which is slightly odd. All GTIs come with matrix LED headlights. They've been updated for the 8.5. I think they look much more purposeful and it gives it a real presence at night. On the inside of the Golf, it's a little disappointing initially. You can't really see a huge amount of difference between this and a standard Golf. They have changed the seats. They have removed the tartan in the Clubsport, which is one of the clear denominators that you have a GTI. That said, they look really nice. They match the grille with its hexagon seating. They're also made of the nice Velcro Alcantara. I suspect that's probably the reason for doing it. It holds you nice and tight like Velcro as you're driving around corners really fast. The dashboard has 3 settings, the good old-fashioned boring standard map, but the one you want is race. This is more driver focused. You can switch the display to show the rev counter front and centre. Makes you feel like you're driving a Porsche. And then on either side you can have a mix of things like average speed, fuel consumption, sat-nav directions, all the stuff your grandma wants, but you don't want those. You want power, G-meter and charge pressure. The middle display inside the centre of that massive great rev counter, you can have 3 options. Gear indicator, your speed, but you can also have my personal favourite, which is the lap timer. You can take your journey to work, put in some splits at the traffic lights and then see if you can beat it the following day. Clearly, I am not condoning racing to work. The main display is much bigger and much improved over the Mark 8, much faster to use, but there's very little difference between a GTI Clubsport and a normal Golf, and most people will just use CarPlay and Android Auto most of the time. That said, There are some oddities in the system. One option is to avoid seasonally restricted routes while you're doing a route within the normal VW sat-nav system. I'm wondering whether they've taken on British Rail's idea and suggested that you shouldn't be driving on roads with the wrong type of leaves. I believe all of the GTIs and Clubsports come with remote parking. Completely pointless, doesn't work very well, but it's a lot of fun in the car park to be able to start your car when you're nowhere near it and move it. In drive modes, if you have a car with a DCC, you can select the Nürburgring setting. Sadly, this car doesn't have it, although the Nürburgring is quite a long way from the UK. You can change all of the other settings individually within it. So you want to turn the exterior sound up full whack, but you might want to change the steering and the gearbox into grandma mode to make driving normal day-to-day stuff easy. The interior sound of the car, coming from the speakers, actually is pretty good. It doesn't tend to kick in until about 5,000 RPM, at which point most four-cylinder engines start to sound like they're crying for help. In this instance, that changes. It uses the augmented speaker system to give it a lot more of a screamy kind of yell than a crying sort of stop driving me noise. There's various ambient colour settings with, I think VW have tried to make it exciting names. You have Infinity, which is orange, Eternity is green, Desire is blue, entirely sure anybody desires blue, and Euphoria, which is green. Not entirely sure what the designers were actually on at the time when they came up with these names. The aircon system is much of a muchness. It works very well, and as always, people will complain that you're using it within a touchscreen. There are sliders across the bottom which are now lit. One option within there, though, is if you go and press the auto button, once it's on, press the auto button again, and it comes up with various different fan speed settings for quick access, which I think actually works really well. There's also a smart function in the air conditioning system. The icons within that are, shall we say, German and very functional. Below the screen, there are a set of buttons. One clearly was originally designed to be there, which was the triangle for the warnings. But then they've decided that it looks stupid on its own, and they have put the same buttons down here as you have on the screen. And on the screen, those buttons are available twice anyway. So why you can do assist, menu, mode and climate 3 different ways within the car, I really don't understand. Phone charging is interesting. In this car, unlike a standard Golf, it has a helmet, a racing helmet for your phone. It's clear when you drive away really fast as to why they've done that. Without that hat, the car tends to throw your phone into the back seats as you accelerate fast. When you get into the car, the start-stop button pulses with excitement, encouraging you to press it. When you press it with your foot on the brake, it starts the car. It makes a kind of a nice noise, and you kind of think, wow, that sounds interesting. But you can do an emotion start, which probably should have been labelled annoy your neighbours start. What you can do is if you hold the start-stop button for between 5 and 10 seconds without your foot on the brake, and then put your foot on the brake, the car starts as loudly as it possibly can with as many pops and bangs as it can. Dogs don't like it. And then we come to the back of the car. It's the back of the car, there's nothing interesting in there. That's with everything on. The external sound, the internal sound, launch control active. Yeah. It's got power and it's got character, it's got noise, it moves well. It's a great car, it really is. It's fantastic for B roads, it's fantastic for motorways. Such a fantastic, dare I say it, like most people would say about a Golf, it's a fantastic all-rounder. I think that's what makes a GTI such a nice car. I guess the question is, what would it sound like without all of the interior and exterior sounds on, doing that again? So let's try again. Let's do it without any of the exterior and interior sounds turned on. just to see if it makes any difference at all. There's clearly a noise difference. There's more noise coming from the exhaust pipe than there was previously. There's a much more raspy kind of noise coming from the engine than there was previously as well. Tell me what you think. I don't know. The external sound is good. I think with the internal noise, I don't know, maybe you need it nowadays. Maybe you just have to have that internal noise to supplement the horrible 2-litre kind of superchargy, or not superchargy, turbochargy kind of noise. Right, back in sport. You've got to drive it in sport, or at least on a back road anyway. When you're on motorways or cruising down an A road in traffic, sticking it in comfort reduces those engine sounds back down again. It doesn't turn them off completely in comfort, it's just in a comfort internal sound. But yeah, driving down a back road, you need everything on. Sport, the whole shebang. Manual flappy paddles, I mean, the gearbox is great, we know that. DSG is a fantastic solution, a fantastic system. The problem is, the flappy paddles are cheap plastic. Now, I get it, I get that there's a cost-saving thing. I guess I get that they're trying to encourage you to go for something like a Golf R, but you'd think on the step up from the GTI to the GTI Clubsport that they would have done more with the paddles. They're tiny little things. I mean, they work well, they're exactly where your hands are going to be, but just have that slightly more visual impact if you had nice chrome pads around the outside. I'm pretty sure that somebody will have made some to fit onto the car. They're the same ones as all of the other Golfs with a DSG gearbox. Driving around town, it's a good car. This car, as I mentioned during the early initial review, it doesn't come with DCC, so we don't have the comfort options on it. You can stick it into comfort, that's fine, but it clearly doesn't affect the suspension. All that does is adjust the steering wheel, it makes it a bit lighter. It obviously, as I mentioned, just reduces the internal and external sounds a little bit and sticks the gearbox into just a normal drive mode. It cruises well. Is it firm? Yes, but if you'd have driven a previous car that I had, which was the Seat Ibiza FR, the answer is no. It's not aggressive, it's not abrupt, it's not too firm. That car, it literally shook your spine. It was a hideously set up car. I could see what they were trying to do, trying to set it up as a sporty car, without the sporty engine in my case. But in this car, it works. You know, it's not too firm, it rides bumps, it gives you a thud as you go over them, but it's a solid thud. It doesn't feel like it's going to break your spine. I think it is usable around town and perfectly fine without the DCC. Would I option it? I don't know, I've not driven it, but if you look at the reviews online, everybody says that the DCC allows you to transform the car, which means that as you're driving around town or driving down what could be an uncomfortable B road, you can switch it into comfort mode. The reviews would suggest that lightens it up. It makes it actually a more, again to use the horrible golf term, all-rounder, and I think I would option it if it was an option. It also means, of course, I suspect that the sport setting on it is firmer than the sports default on this, which means that if you really want to and you can really find a good smooth road, a good smooth B road that allows you to push the car hard, and you really want that full-on track day kind of feeling, then perhaps the sport mode works well. Right, we're coming out of a village. Let's use manual gearbox, twisty road, let's see what it feels like under load. There you go, you get that noise again. So we're back to having the nice internal and external sounds back on. Coming up to a nice bendy bit. Let's just see how it handles around here. Road says slow, so we'll slow down a little bit. A couple of gear changes, down to second. Pulls out of the corner nicely. Up to third, back down to second, accelerate hard out. Little bit of torque steer. Wow, I mean, a lot of people might complain about torque steer. This is a sporty car. You want some torque steer out of a car. You want it to be playful. You want it to tell you that it's enjoying what it wants to do. Coming back into another bend. Let's try that again. Back down to third. Coming out. Little bit of tyre slip. Oh. Right, you rejoin me with the camera back on. Surely that defines an exciting and interesting car when the camera flies off the windscreen. It shows the acceleration out of a corner in third gear as well. Right, let's go do some motorway driving. After a little bit of a B-road thrash, it would appear. Over a little jump. You can't help but have fun. The car lifts your spirits. You know, if you're going through a really difficult phase of life, for me, driving is just an enjoyment. And if you can get pleasure out of something, it's worth the money. It really is. Just pushing down these kinds of roads, it just really such a fun car. Anyway, right, a fun road like that around these parts, straight onto a dual carriageway. I mean, seriously, only in the UK could you do that. Interesting junction this, it's onto a dual carriageway from that B road, so we'll put our foot down and go. Bye-bye. Seriously, so much power. Wow. Now my bottle's gone flying. So as we set the traffic lights, should you buy it? Yeah, I think you should. So on to Paul's points. Each section will be rated out of 10, giving a total score of 50 points. Performance. It's a gutsy car. It loves to rev for a 2-litre engine and is eager at the lights. It pulls hard when you need it to, so we'll give it a 9. Personality. Well, it's German, so we'll give it a 6. Presence. In black, in the dark, with a big wing. Yeah, 8 points. Practicality. It's a performance car, but if it's a car that you need to use as a daily driver and you want to take it out on a normal day, then it's great. I'd give it an 8. Price, compared to the GTI Yaris and the Honda Civic Type R, it's actually really good value at 8 points. But I'd probably go out and get a Nova GSI.